Hello everyone, welcome to Study Automation. In this tutorial, we will see once we click on Add button, then one model window will come and where we can enter book detail, and then once we click Save button, that will be visual here. Data will be saved in MongoDB, and then that new line will be added here. So for that, what we have to do, we can go in our application. And in this application we have to add Bootstrap JS file. So we can write get bootstrap.com, and from here we will click on get started. After that we can click on 4.6 version, and then go down. We can copy the separated version, just copy it, go to the page, and here we will see we have index.html. After all things, just paste before closing tag of body. Although you can paste it in head also, but I prefer to paste it here. Now after doing this thing, that means we have added the JS file, JS configuration for our application. Then we can search here, or we can simply go into mod component, and from this component we can see this is model. Once we will click on model, we can navigate, and in this one we can see examples. So let's take this live example. Once I click here, it will open this model window. So I'll copy the code that is written here, just copy it and paste it in our page. So let's go down, and here after closing of the table we can paste all the codes that we have copied. Select all the things and do some formatting. Now here we can see this is unnecessary comment line is there, just remove this comment line. After that, also replace class with class name. So I can select it, press Ctrl H, and then you have to replace with class name. Just click replace all. It will replace. Along with that, it will also replace the class name. So we have to remove the name from the class. Then you can see down that we have added these things, and we can save. Now let's go and check. So now you can see we have model window added. Once we click on, pop-up is coming up. Now we have to remove this, and we'll add on add button. So for that, we can copy this code. We can simply cut this code from here, and then we'll replace with this button that we have added earlier. Let's change the name, add book, and instead of primary we can say this is info, and let it be everything. Just save it, go here. Now we have this one. If I click on add books, we have one pop-up will come. So this is how we can add any Bootstrap features in our React.js application. So now after that, what we can do next is we can say here we have body, and body is blank. In this body we can add one input box. So we can say input type equal to text, then id equal to, we can say title, then name equal to also title, and then value equal to, in this value we have to write this dot state dot, and then we have to bind this particular field with one of the text fields. So let's say one of the field which is available in state. So if I'll go on top in state, we have only all books. Now add one more here. We can say single book. In this single book, I'll include title, and title equal to blank for now, and then I'll say we will have, and instead of title I can say this is a name, so we have to pass the name also. So this is name, book name, and then we can say ID. So these two things we have mentioned here, ID and name. So ID can be a type of integer, so let's define, by default it is, let's say 0. So these two things I have declared here, and after that what we can do, we can map single book to this field. So I can say this dot state dot single book dot name. So now name is added here, and along with that we can say on change, right, on handle change what we wanted to write. Before that, let me just give here a label, and then we can say HTML for title, and then here we can say enter book name, right, enter book name. Then we have this one, click save, go and see what is happening now. We will click here, now you can say enter book name, and then we have save change and closed. So now once we will update anything, it should actually change the value, right? So here we have input text, title, and then in the value, whatever value you will enter here, let's say if I'll hard code some value here, let's say I can say Java, save it. If you will go here and click add, you can see by default Java is coming here. Now next thing is, once we will add anything, then it should save the state also, and for that what we have to do, we can add here on change field. So in this one we have to add on change equal to, and then we'll have to write this dot handle change. Now this handle change we have to configure, so we'll have to go, we have to basically bind this handle change with the current component. So I'll write here this dot handle change equal to this dot handle change dot bind. We can pass this. After adding this thing, we have to give the definition also. So we have add books. Now after add books we can write handle change, and then we have to write code inside this handle change. So we can say here, we can directly set this dot set state, and here we can say that single book, this dot set state single book, and in this single book we can set the data, right? So we can set name equal to e dot target dot value, e dot target dot value. This particular thing we have set here, and then we can say that e dot target dot value. So in this one we have to only set the name, and ID will automatically, since we are handling ID in backend, so we don't need to provide that particular thing here. We can simply set e dot target dot value, and this value will be set in this single book whenever we will modify anything here. So whenever we will modify anything on this particular field, that will be added in this particular field. So here we have book, and then by default we have blank. This will set here. So now these things is set through the HTML input field. Now after input field, what we have to do, we have to add button. So in button, basically we can say input type button, save changes. So here we have to do on click equal to, then we have to write this dot we can say add book. So we can create function add book or something like handle add book. Now we have to same thing we have to do. We have to register this. I'll do this dot handle add book equal to this dot handle book dot bind, and then we can pass it this operation here. So after doing that, we have to also handle here the create the add book, right? So we can say we have now all data is already available in this particular set state. Now here we have to write logic to pass or to call post method of API. So we will see in the next video how we can add post method in this React.js application. Thank you.